Today, yes today, we find ourselves all equally blessed on this journey through greater and lesser evils. Join us as we explore the hard realities and uncomfortable truths plaguing our society. So without any further ado, let's jump right in and rip this bandit off together. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Greater or Lesser Evils. I know it's been a while. We're back. I'm back as always. I'm back with the man that makes all the tanks in the world go forward, Mr. Tank. Also the man that makes Mr. Clean look small and impotent, Xavier. How we doing today, boys?
What's up?
Doing good.
Good to be back with you, boys. Good to be going with it here. Without further ado, should we go ahead and get to the movie that we're talking about today, boys?
Let's do it.
All right, the movie today is going to be Dream Scenario, starring the ever immortal Nicholas Cage. Man, I love every single role he's in. We'll touch that in a second. But Lily Bird, Julianne Nicholson, written by Christoph Borgelli. Did I say that right?
Borgley?
Yeah.
Borgley?
All right. Also directed by them.
Close enough.
Budget of $10 million. And the box office just went just slightly above that to make a profit of $10.5 million.
I think that's the break-even point.
Yeah, they didn't really advertise too much, so I don't think they're going to have too much.
No. Yeah,
honestly,
there's
that's
probably
like
a reason for that.
Isn't that like a Nick Cage movie, though? He goes right at the level he needs to make, and then it's done.
Story of my life.
Or Nicholas Coppola, whoever we say. Just a notable award. It won the Best Body of Work Award for Nicolas Cage by the San Diego Film Critics Society Awards, which...
That's a made-up thing.
Yeah.
There's no way this won anything for any reason.
And it's an A24 production.
Someone say spoiler? In the movie Beetlejuice, if you say his name 3 times, he just disappears. And then the movie would have been over right there. He
Straight
just
up.
disappears.
It would have been over with. That's a fact. Yeah. I never. You know what's weird is that I never thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what the best part about that is? They're remaking it. And I think the most
Yes,
ingenious thing of what they did, the title of the movie is Beetlejuice.
Oh.
So if they make a third one, it could be Beetlejuice.
Disappears.
Yeah.
And then there's no point for the movie.
And they got Jenny Ortega is playing Winona Ryder's daughter.
Yeah. The pickup. Yeah. Basically, she's the pickup.
Yeah.
You know, because she does in a way look like her. Yeah. Even that's why she's paying. What's her name from
Wednesday?
At Wednesday, yeah, that's why she's playing Wednesday now.
Yep.
So there's a weird scene for, I don't know if you guys know that, but Jenny Ortega, she and the guy that played the Hobbit, Martin Freeman, he had a sex scene with her.
Yeah, in Dream Scenario?
No, not in Dream Scenario. There's another spoiler.
I was gonna say that. Yeah,
Jenna Ortega is not in Dream Scenario.
She's not in Dream Scenario.
I'll cut that out.
Spoil that for everybody.
That's just something to go forward with that.
Not in Dream Scenario.
I wish she was.
Because everything is just more interesting than Dream Scenario. We are ready to talk about anything else.
So this is why we're quiet right now, because yes, this movie.
I got nothing to say about this movie.
This movie comes on.
It's just awful.
And then it goes off.
Yeah.
All right.
It's basically like if Spaceman went to the bar and picked up Last Call, it would be Dream Scenario.
No. So I will say this. So Spaceman is the same way. But this one, at least there's like something happened. At least at the very end of the movie, you get some kind of resolution. Yeah. Right.
There's
Spaceman
a tiny little payoff, but Spaceman was
no payoff. Right. No payoff at all.
They tried to make it a love story, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and this one's kind of a lust story. You know, this guy's, not satisfied in his life, and his wife the entire time is trying to tell him he's enough.
Exactly.
And he just feels like he's not.
And that's the whole thing. Like he's competing against someone he doesn't even know he's in a competition with. The guy he's competing with doesn't even know he's in a competition with him. Mm-hmm. It's like, he wrote this book was like, well, I wrote a book too. He stole my theory.
Yeah.
Well, she does.
No, but what I'm saying is, no one else knows it. Only she's the only person who knows. He never bothered to write a book. They asked him a question like, "What did you write? Did you write the book?" It was like, "Well, no, I was thinking about."
Well, it's in my head.
Yeah, it's in my head. Yeah. So the point is like there are doers, and then there are people who think that they're going to do it. And
fortune favors the bold.
Exactly.
And this dude is definitely not bold. Definitely not bold. So
I was like, why you had to quote that?
We'll go back in, and one of the main things here. One of the main things here that
the reason I quoted it is because he's in between us. You can't reach me. You can't reach me from there.
Put the 300-pound wall in between the two of you.
Yeah, that's a Matt Damon reference. You know, who didn't catch that? That's a Matt Damon reference. Yeah,
that definitely did.
Yeah, that's a Matt Damon reference. Him and
Matt Damon.
I thought I read that on a cereal box.
somewhere. Yeah.
I had no idea that was Matt Damon. I don't watch Matt Damon movies because I value my life.
Should I put in
I
there?
have no idea.
A Luditery.
The first Luditery here is...
Yeah.
Let's call Nicki Minaj up and see if there's some nonsense words that we can put in there. I'm not sure what you were even trying to say.
Yeah.
Are you having a stroke?
Yeah.
Let me check your eyes. Make sure they're still focused.
There's a reason why I have sunglasses on for that. But anyway, so we pull into the movie, and his daughter's having a dream, and he's just sitting there raking the leaves. And he does absolutely nothing to save his daughter. So when he's told this dream from his daughter, he gets instantaneously mad and defensive because he was not the hero of her story.
Why didn't I do anything? Why didn't I do anything? Well, because it's a dream.
Yeah, exactly. But this is how. So this reminds me a lot of how people actually interpret dreams and how people want to believe. It's like how you see yourself and how the rest of the world sees you too.
Oh, yeah, and
right?
the anxiety and things that are actually showing up, in your dreams versus what's happening.
Exactly, and that's why. So as boring as this movie is, right? There is like a snippet to be taken away.
Love the premise of the movie.
Yes.
The delivery was just
it's just not. It's not. It's not a good delivery. I can't really defend this movie in that sense, but it's not a good delivery. But it is a very, I call it like a good message. Of not even because there is no hero's path to this movie.
Sure, none whatsoever.
He wants one. He wants one in every single scenario he's with people.
A boring man does boring things.
Boring things.
In the movie,
and
in their dreams.
Yeah, in the dreams. And that's the whole thing. Like he's so in a sense he's so forgettable that everyone keeps seeing him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole issue. Like, because so if everyone didn't know how your subconscious works, especially in your dream, right? So your subconscious is constantly working. It's constantly picking up the field around you at all times. Yep. When you're not even paying attention, your subconscious is literally painting a picture or keeping you in the environment that you're in right now, so to speak, right? And this movie really picks up on the fact that he is legitimately so forgettable that everyone's subconscious somewhat kind of picks up to it. Now, it only gets like off the rails in this movie is when people he's never met start seeing him.
Right.
Now, that's when you start going like, okay, maybe they're going somewhere with this movie, right? And that's what I was thinking, like they was going to go, like to some major thing that happens, but it never kind of pulls it off.
Right, like the big reveal, was kind of like segueing into cancel culture. Because now that he's being, and I'm sure, you've seen this in several comedies along, on television, the woman has a dream that the man cheated on him and then she burns his breakfast.
Exactly.
Because how dare you cheat on me in my dream. I'm sorry.
But I do think I like how they kept the horror aspect that like when you have sex in a horror movie, you die.
Oh man.
So as soon as he had sex with that girl, and again, he came. Look, we're gonna hit on that.
So,
I don't want to do it.
That was pure comedy for me.
We can talk about it right now. I mean, let's go ahead and hit it down.
Let's go.
I have no idea if anybody is actually that pathetic in real life. But she touches him. He makes a butt trumpet, and he's just like, game over. It's just so awful.
Yeah, it is. It's like, no, go ahead.
You know what the funny thing is? There is a sexual term for butt trumpet that will be on top of the screen right now that he just said right now.
Why do they have names for this stuff? That's a real question. Like, why is there a name for this?
There is names.
No idea.
Why is there a name?
So pathetic. But like in her dream, like she was into the fear aspect of having that type of sex.
Being dominated. Yeah, she was really turned on by the idea of a stranger dominating her. It's actually that's a pretty common thing.
Right.
Like the concept of females wanting to be overwhelmed with power and taken advantage of. But unfortunately,
that's why that rape choke thing.
Yeah, but in the real world, that doesn't work that way. In the real world, it's kind of like the cops are showing up.
Always disappointed.
You're going to jail. Yeah, and then you will end up in another sense of in jail.
Yeah.
being taken advantage of.
Public service announcement: ask first before you do it.
Guaranteed.
That'll keep you out of jail.
Consent.
I don't want to tell you how I know that.
Yeah.
100%.
First before you do that.
Always consent. Even on the alcohol, you need to write that down.
Yeah.
Alcohol, you need a formal consent. Like it needs to be written.
Yeah.
Yeah. That it happened. She's agreeing.
Yeah.
He or she these days. But the point is like, yeah, they're agreeing to this thing. Yeah. But it was that was one of the saddest things. But at the same time, this showed when he goes, because he's feeling somewhat lost in his own marriage, but he sees this what he sees as one of those like this movie is more like the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man can't remember what it was like to go out and hunt anymore. Right?
Not I don't think he ever hunted though.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
Look at the women. Look at how excited he was when the woman came up to him. His ex came up to him. Yeah. And I'm gonna ask you a question here in a second with that. But look how excited he was just to be able to just to talk to her.
Yeah.
I've never been excited to see an ex. I don't want to see an ex.
Yeah, exactly.
That brings into my question. Have you guys ever been on a date where
an ex is an ex?
Yeah.
You know?
100%. So the question here is, have you ever been on a date where another ex has come up to you, or you ever been in a situation when you kind of have to tread that line and you're paddling as much as you can just to get out?
Oh man,
I have.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I've been engaged several times before I found the love of my life, and it's one of those that even, when I was with somebody else and, my wife was waiting for her turn or, shot a tank or whatever it is.
Shot at the tank.
And how wildly disappointed she was that she lived her dream and, like, that's it. No, she's stuck with me now.
She loves you.
No, obviously, but when those two had met the first time, you could have cut the tension in the air with a knife, and I wasn't even, like they had kind of introduced each other, at a mutual party. And then all of my other gal pals were like, oh, there's going to be a fight.
Oh man.
It's about to happen.
Oh man. That's crazy.
Yeah. I had no idea, because I was so oblivious to it. I was just excited that two girls liked me, I had no idea.
Yeah. Oh man. What about you?
You want me to go on this?
You want me?
This is going to be a hard one to go up with, man. Look, I don't do exes. Every time I see one, it's like, oh, you're a person still? Because literally, they die in my head. They literally die in my head that day, and like I flush everything. Be like, do you remember the time No, I don't even know that you're still a person. Are you breathing?
Yeah, I can completely understand that. I understand that too, because I'm sounding like the same way. Like I have this thing where you have to cut it off, otherwise. It's a thing that keeps coming back, right? It's like the concept of
the snake.
Yeah, it's like you invite. You can't you invite the vampire in once, but you can't let it come through the door again. But it's kind of like it's already too late. You've already invited the vampire in, right? Yeah. So you have to basically put another spell down to make sure that the evil spirit can't cross the pathway anymore. But so I'm the same way.
You didn't put salt in front of the door. When
it is salt, right? Yeah, salt. Yeah, you put salt down. Yeah, and then but. Yeah, I'm kind of like the same way, but I have like run into a scenario. What's weird is like it wasn't even an ex. It's just a girl I was interested in. I was interested in. I end up having. I don't even call her a girlfriend because she wouldn't call me her boyfriend. Not only would she not call her boyfriend, I only saw her on weekends. Right. Yeah. But the point is that this really good friend of mine, right? She invited me like out to get some food. All right, get food. So. I show up. Well, basically, I invite the other girl. Like, hey, I'm going to get some food, but would you, she wants to meet up with this other guy. I figure like it's a double date, right? Yep. At the very least, it's a double date. All right. So I get there, and then like we're having a conversation, and so then my lady friend, she asked me. She was like, "How did you all know each other?" I was like, "Oh," and so I was just like, yeah, exactly. So it wasn't really that complicated. Because I met her in a bar. I met her in a bar. Nothing happened, right? Yeah. But she just, this is like years later. Like I could say like it could have went somewhere, but because I was in the military, it couldn't go anywhere. Yeah. Right. So that's just what it was. So she moved on her life. So I figured like it's no big deal. But then all of a sudden, this lady friend who wouldn't even make me her boyfriend is now all of a sudden interested. Like, why do y'all know each other? how did you know it? And I'm like, why do you care? Yeah. I'm like, why do you care?
I remember this being a TV show, like 12 girls show up, will you accept this rose? You know, they were all vying for Xavier. I want him. I want him. You know.
Play it. There we go. We'll play that into my next question.
Know, right?
Have you ever been confused for anybody else? Oh, like have you ever someone went up to you and be like, you look like Boris Kalitsky? Or
No. The only thing I got was Smoking Joe Frazier.
Ooh.
I used to have hair.
Okay.
When I had like hair, it was I used to have a puff, right?
Okay.
And this guy just randomly, he was just like Smoking Joe, and I was just like, all right. I guess I can see that, you know, so to speak. Yeah. But that's about the closest.
Every big physique, they're like, Carl Weathers from Predator, you know, because white people just think, you know, like.
No mustache at all.
Nothing,
not even a mustache.
Else. Barack Obama. Oh my God, it's Barack Obama.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's actually the thing in Italy, like Italy and when I first went to overseas in the Middle East, there's people just random like yelling out Obama, and I was like, why? Like why?
You don't see color.
Right.
I just see color. You don't see color.
That's what I'm saying.
They're just ignorant. No. Probably haven't seen a lot of people of color.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and like I said, these foreign lands, they had never. I was just like, I gotta understand. Like this is.
But they did establish Herb's weird in this movie too.
Yeah.
So I can see that, man. What you got?
Some people say like Jack Black. Some people say like
that person?
Wolfman Jack.
Wolfman Jack.
You know,
I can see Wolfman Jack.
Get a lot of that.
Yeah.
One time, my wife told me that I looked like Jason Momoa if you drew him from memory. You know, and then you forgot where the tattoos went, so you threw it away. You know, and I was like, oh, she thinks I'm sexy. That went completely over my head. You know, that she was probably giving me a dig. You know, but I was just like, my wife thinks I look like Jason Momoa.
You know what makes me love that dude?
If he was trying to eat himself to death, you know.
What makes me love that dude more than anything, and we love dudes here. It's cool, man. We were secure with our masculinity. In Aquaman 2, he refused to work out. Yep. So that's why he put him in a suit.
Yeah.
That was a suit. That wasn't him.
No lie, I didn't know that.
And that's why he was in the robe for those scenes that he wasn't in the suit.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to work out.
Because his pockets were full of Cinnabons.
Yeah. He
was on the Frank the Tank diet. Basically, how that works.
His thing is, and you can watch on his interviews, he says, unless you're paying me, I'm not working out.
Steel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's right.
So he refused to do it. And
that's out of
they
control.
didn't hold him to it. Yeah.
So he wasn't Pattinson? What's the guy from
Robert Pattinson?
He's Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he worked out, but he just refused to really work out.
It was like the goth Batman.
Yeah, it was goth. Yeah, it was goth Batman. Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to reviewing
we have Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson.
My Matt Damon.
Yo, man.
We'll probably do that in a short time.
We got it.
Well, it's the same thing when he was Edward Sissy Fangs or whatever it was called. What was that stupid movie?
Oh, man, you talking about Twilight?
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
Man, I hate those movies so much. When people would actually have the nerve to walk up to me and be like, "Don't you think that what would happen if what is it? I can't remember his name in this movie, but
Edward.
What if Edward fought Superman?
Why do I know all this?
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
Because you were dating a lot of exes that loved.
I could go over all of it.
Such a sexy vampire. Take me to the movie.
I got to say this though while we're on that topic, and I can't let it go. It disturbed me the most that he imprinted himself on that baby. He raped the baby in the womb. And I know we talk about punching babies and throwing babies, and we do this in all this episode.
Seems to be Hollywood's theme these days.
I told you.
You know,
that's what I keep talking about.
I remember a few episodes back, you know, you had kind of brought that to light, and I was like, there's no way.
No, it's a thing.
Here it is again.
Yeah.
You know,
that's why I was like, if you're watching enough movies, you start seeing there is an overall theme. And it's something about like babies or killing babies or whatever.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, that thing with babies.
I'll still punch a baby.
Yeah. but yeah, dude, Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that, like big time.
So this is the other thing that doesn't make any sense about him with this. He took her last name in the marriage. Now I'm not saying if anyone out there is taking your wife's last name, so be it. You might have had a reason. Look, I've always said I'm a Bears fan. You saw me in a Bears video the other day. I'm mad that Virginia McClaskey's husband didn't take the name Hallis. His name should be Hallis. keep the Hallis name long, destroy the McClaskey name. It should have been a Hallis. I could see that.
Yeah.
But any other man that takes his wife's last name, I got a major issue. And then they kiss each other on the cheek. When you kiss your wife on the cheek instead of lips, she might as well not be your wife.
I almost took my wife's last name.
Really?
Yeah, okay. Really.
Stop lying.
No, I'm serious.
You've been serious. Okay.
I'm
all right.
Serious as a heart attack.
Okay.
Because we were both in the Marine Corps. And she was really tough.
Okay.
And because she was so tough, and her and I were courting at the time, and people that we worked with, because she was so tough, and I was a little more passive in that. In that relationship, they were like, "Are you going to take her last name?" We're like, "Maybe I will." What's the problem?
So you saying you was going to take it out of spite?
That's a little bit like that.
So that people come, like,
absolutely, because I was playing into that the whole way.
Yeah, I see that. I completely understand.
Absolutely,
I get that. Yeah, that's like that would have been a straight like that's like a villain movie.
Absolutely. So ironic.
Yeah.
I can see that. I wouldn't hate on you if I would have known that.
Yeah.
But I know how amazing your wife is. So
she's tough. She's very tough.
I can see it. Not that mine isn't amazing. Mine is absolutely amazing. But I'm glad that she's going to take my last name.
Mm-hmm.
So
with no hyphen, or anything like that.
Even though I'm not anti that, I could see that if somebody.
No, I get it.
Especially in certain situations. I know that we all have friends that have security clearances.
I'm Hispanic. So we're used to having like 15, 15 names.
We go through his narcissism, and we go down the rabbit hole, which is very interesting. Is he's got a very loving wife. They have a weird relationship with it.
Loving wife, jealous life.
Yes.
He's just so upset all the time that other people are succeeding.
Yeah, and he feels for some really strange reason. He's a doctor.
Yeah,
this doctor tenured at a really good university.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For some reason, feels
why
like
is he
he's
not
left
satisfied
out.
with his life?
He's completely unsatisfied with his life. Yeah, it's like somehow his unsatisfaction spreads to the whole world. Like he's so dissatisfied.
A virus in their dreams.
That he's the virus. Yeah, that's how I saw this. That's how I interpret this movie. That he was the cause because he wanted to be something so bad.
Yeah. Right? So when his attitude starts to go bad, it just kind of
it snowballs until all of a sudden they start becoming nightmares.
Yep.
So it starts out okay. He wasn't unknown. He was just a background player. Then the minute he became rejected.
Yep.
He suddenly became the bad guy.
Absolutely.
In the dream. Yeah.
You got to be careful what you wish for. Yeah. Because if he was just wanting some sort of fame or recognition, no matter what it was, and now he had it, and eventually, he was up here, and now that it's down here, he's playing this victim. Which I don't disagree with, because he didn't do any of those things.
He did nothing
in the dream.
Yeah, he did nothing.
But then they try to cancel college.
Yeah.
Because people are, oh, he hit me with a hammer. Yeah, in your dream.
In your dream.
He's basically like, he's like a really bad Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Boring. He's like if Freddy Krueger were a librarian.
Yeah. Remember, they haven't put on the glove at the end when he's doing
exactly. So there is the symbolism at the end there.
Yeah, it is.
I think with that, and we'll talk about the cancel culture here shortly with it, but is there ever been a dream that has stuck with you your entire life? Scariest dream, maybe a dream that you foresaw something that has impacted you when you were sleeping?
I remember most of my dreams.
Okay.
So I know I do remember most of my dreams, but
give us an Xavier hitter.
A dream? Oh, I met myself. I met myself when I was like maybe 5 or 6.
Okay.
So I saw the adult version of me in my dream in a mirror. I was sitting in nowhere, and I didn't notice at the time, because I'm a little kid. But this guy comes walking up to me in his dream, and he just starts talking to me, telling me like all
buy
kinds
Netflix.
No,
buy Google stock for the love of God.
Why did he tell me that?
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah, I know, right? Imagine if you could, that's
like Looper and this movie mixed together. Though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's up Looper. He pulls it off. Yeah.
Were you scared or excited to see yourself?
No, it's just because I was accustomed to having like wild dreams anyway. So to meet myself was just like. But the point is like I didn't know it was me.
Yeah.
Right. Because I don't look anything like little me, as I said. Right. I had hair, so that's one thing. Like I used to have hair when I was like small. But to recognize, there's no way I could recognize myself. But I know I met myself in my own dream. Wow. That's something I do know.
That's powerful, brother.
Yeah.
That is powerful.
Yeah.
What you got?
Mine's actually really kind of scary because there's a bunch of like subreddits and things out there about this manifestation, and it's the Top Hat Man is how they refer to him. And I remember when I was about 6 or 7 years old, and I would have this dream about a big like Babadook looking style, with a top hat, and he kind of looked like Phantom of the Opera with the mask off, and he would float over top of me, over
like the character from Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Very similar to that, and I probably had dreams about that for 6-7 years, before puberty hit, Then I started dreaming about girls. I don't remember those. They didn't want me in my dreams either. Don't get me wrong. But to this day, I still have a rational. I know all of them are. You'll catch up. Don't worry. But I have a lot of irrational fears because of those things. But it's why I love horror movies so much. Because every time you walk into a room, and I have to turn the light on first, but if I don't get the light switch the first time, I pull my hand back out and I try again because I'm afraid that there's another hand that's going to touch me on the other side. Oh, man. And it's the same with no matter how much you've seen about ghosts and things like that. I'm a very rational person. I'm educated. I'm sane. And things like that. But there's all those subreddits out there where people think they got ghosts on camera and whatnot. I love looking at those things, and making my own mind up. Right. But you know how many times the ghost has actually been in the room that I've been walking in? None. Okay. But that means
one time.
It would take
one time. That's it. That's all it takes is that one time.
And I would leave Earth. Almost immediately. The one that gets me worse than that, just real quick, is mirrors. Because of horror movies and whatnot. So I will never look in a mirror if I'm turning a light on because I'm afraid that
it's right behind you. Yeah.
It's either right behind me or right what's looking at me isn't
not
me.
You. Oh man.
So those are very terrifying, irrational fears because again, I've seen myself in a mirror a million times, and I may not like what it looks like, but it's definitely me. It's not anything. It's never been anything else.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And what's interesting is the parallel between both your dreams that you just said, and we didn't rehearse this part before we started. Is you guys both talked about seeing yourselves in your dreams.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to come off horrible. Ninjas show up in my dreams. Like, ever since, like, I was just all of a sudden, like, right now, we could be sitting here talking, and ninjas are going to show up. And it's not like we sit there and we have a fucking tea party. Although we did
with his dad, and then they just kind of come out of the water.
They just jump.
Throwing stars at
Ninjas just come out of nowhere, and I'm like, it's the ninjas again.
Oh, no.
I don't know whether when I was in Japan, I looked for the ninjas. I was like, maybe they're here waiting for me. I'm going to find them. I didn't find them. But no, me and ninjas have been like, this is like since age 5. Like, I can remember telling my dad, I woke up like, I saw ninjas.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah, he's just like, shut up and eat your Oreos.
Yeah, I didn't see the ninja thing coming.
Yeah.
I can see like a lot of stuff, but not ninja.
Definitely not ninjas.
That's what human beings are amazing.
Yeah.
Human beings are amazing.
We want to hear about your dreams down below, too.
It's just so incredible, this fatty piece of whatever it is in our heads,
cholesterol.
and it loves to
that
get
we only
scared.
do like 3% of it, too.
Yeah.
It has all this imagination, that goes all in weird tangents.
I want to hit on your point, too. When I did DMT, not that I'm saying the drug, again, I did it on a legal reservation. I did it. It wasn't illegal where I did it. I saw the Purple Lady. And
I've read about that.
Yeah, so the responses are all different.
Xavier, do you know about the Purple Lady?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So
go ahead.
So when you do DMT, and there's all these YouTube links and whatnot, because everybody that does DMT to a certain level or whatever it is, everybody sees the Purple Lady. She's got a message in I don't remember what the message is, but. Each one of them, she looks exactly the same with everybody. It's the same with the people that think they've seen aliens. Oh, and it's got big eyes, and it put the thing in me. It put the ET finger up me or whatever it was.
It violated me.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I don't know why aliens are into butt stuff.
And what is it then?
So it's supposed to be like a manifestation of like the way your inner being, or this is supposed to be a connection to the spiritual world that you're lacking.
Right.
So the weirdest part was she tried to rape me the entire time. Like, it was weird. Like, she was seducing me the entire time that we were. Yeah, dude, it was weird. Like, it kept on, like, flashing through scenarios. Like, think of a bad movie where, like, let's just say we're sitting down at dinner right now. I'm sipping my wine, we're talking, no big deal. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, she whips out a boob. And she goes, would you like this boob? And I go, no, I would not like this boob. Like,
I also would play hard to get and say yes. Yes, I guess so.
But the weirdest part, though, with that is it weirded me out is we have another thing that we talk about, a hotel that has that magical floor that you reach into that you're not supposed to acknowledge her existence. I was afraid maybe I would get stuck in there. I didn't know.
No, but what was the message? Did she give you a message?
Oh, yeah. I don't want to say it out loud, but it definitely made me rethink some of my choices in my life.
Okay.
Yeah, it hit hard. It hit hard. And yes. I used to be a very, very bad person, and it helped me be a better person.
I guess we'll leave it. We'll leave it right there. I mean, that's out of control.
Yeah, but DMT for sure.
Yeah, but this is a person that everybody sees. That's what I'm saying, but the point of everybody
don't do illegal drugs.
Yeah.
But do legal drugs on go to an Indian reservation or a Native American reservation. My apologies. And go say, hey, can I get some DMT? And they'll do it for you. You'll sit down, they'll do a ceremony for you, and you tell them like you want to find your spiritual self or some bullshit like that. Please, Popeye Spot. We will eat you right.
But go ahead. What are you saying?
Everybody wants to be seen the way we want to see, right? Yeah. And I think his problem with life is he was the have and the have-nots. He got left behind. Look at this Dinner for Schmucks. They call him up. He's like, did I get that invite to that dinner? And Dinner for Schmucks is, we'll watch that movie. It'll be popping up on the screen.
Steve Carell.
Yes, absolutely hilarious. Paul Rudd, absolutely hilarious movie. Mm-hmm. But there's an element where he's an intellectual, but he's on the outside of his entire life. He's never been the inside. So he thought this would be an opportunity for people to look at him as the cool dad, the cool guy let in. And this is what we see a lot with people in society, right? Everybody just wants to be accepted for the person that they are. They just sometimes don't know how to.
A little bit, but we live in a, where image is everything kind of culture. The pretty people get the best jobs or the best service and things like that, but seeing it the same way play out in a movie like this, and the slow burn where they were trying to to build that anxiety, and then it just turned into mob mentality, like, hey, you were in my daughter's dream and you need to get out of here, and he's just trying to eat,
that's it. Yeah.
What about the crossover with reality where the guy comes to kill him? First thing, that first shock when they comes to the door that the dudes in the house is there to kill him because he feels like he needs to kill him. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even know where to go with things like that, because if you as a person cannot decipher between what is real and what is not, there's bigger problems, at play there. My wife has never tried to kill me in my dreams, but even if she did, I imagine my own anxiety, is probably imprinting, that time that she lost her chocolate and I spent 3 hours helping her find it, even though I knew I already ate it. It was one of those kind of things. I don't. Because now I'm just absolutely feling guilty, and
Can I ask you a question about that?
Clear. I should just come clean.
Was it the True Serum chocolate that you were eating?
No. Just her favorite, Godiva cherry chocolates that I always, the anniversaries and things. We mark occasions, or sometimes just because.
That's awesome.
But it's, that's why when you look at things like that, I just don't like the premise of just because it happened in a dream, and if you can't decipher between that, I just don't think that's even realistic. To blame somebody for something that's in your subconscious for one reason or another. I don't know much about dream analyzation or anything, but I do imagine like nightmares come from anxieties or insecurities,
unfulfilled
absolutely
dreams.
It's a things like. And there is a whole dream science out there, like, when, the dreams where you're falling and you never actually hit the ground because your brain has never died, so it doesn't know what that's like, and then you wake up. And then there's other times where you're falling and you actually hit the bed, and and it makes it feel even that much more real, but I just don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to this movie that I say we could discuss. We can go down all kinds of crazy rabbit holes with this movie because it's involving dreams. Like I like to ask, like, what's the favorite part of your dream? Like, do you have a favorite part in your dream most of the time outside of sex? What is your favorite part of a dream?
Then
of something that happens in your dream that you really enjoy that happens.
When I beat up the ninjas.
There you go.
You do. You actually get to beat up the ninjas.
Because really, they're your friends.
Yeah.
Think about it this way: the ninjas really are your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Because in like real life, think of us as like as adults. We don't get a chance to either touch or interact like physically with anyone anymore as a full-grown adult. Right. Those ninjas could be your way of still being able to, keep your childhood going. Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah, in a sense, yeah. And that's why I say they're kind of like your best friends.
Man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Dr. Xavier over here. I love it.
Yeah,
we might have a separate show where you sit here and you talk to people about their dreams.
Yeah.
Man. I like where this is going with it. You're not wrong. I like that. Though.
Yeah. So
wait, does that mean I want to punch you guys?
No, it's not.
I never wanted to punch you.
So
guys.
that's what I'm saying. It's not about like punching or anything. It's the idea, right? That like just remember when was the last time you touched another person? Because when you was a child, you were just touching everything. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People had to tell you to stop touching stuff. You were constantly like bumping into like little kids, your friends. You were jumping off of stuff, freaking like hurting something, but it didn't matter.
Sensory sponge.
Yeah, it was just sensory sponge and overload. But as you become an adult, you just stop interacting with everything. Like to the point where like everything is so safe. You're afraid to sit down in a chair too hard. Like now, but as a kid, you went and jumped in beds. You hopped on furniture. You did backflips off of like ledges.
Yeah,
right?
into piles of leaves, from the top of the trees, and
there was just zero fear. There was zero fear like there. But as you grow, that's why like in your dream,
everything could break your hip when you're old.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I love you, but I hate you. I literally just had a flashback to when I sat down in a chair and the chair fucking shattered.
See, and that's what I'm saying. And that's the whole idea.
I'm thinking about that right now. Like I need a minute just to like.
Yeah. And so that's what.
I'm glad you enjoyed that. I shattered the chair. It's shattered. It was like in the what's the one with Gwyneth Paltrow with Jack Black? Your doppelganger.
Oh, Shallow Hal.
Yeah, Shallow Hal. Yeah, it's shattered. Like poof.
Yeah.
Like,
was it also a metal chair?
I don't want to say.
I was at least 330 though at that point.
Do you have a favorite part of a dream? You get what I'm saying, like a occurrence.
Well, no, you stole my thunder because you said I couldn't say sex stuff.
Okay,
so
right.
Those are the only dreams I enjoy.
Okay.
Wait, do you have any spoilers for your dreams?
I don't. I don't want to say because I really. If I could look like anybody in my dreams, I would look like Xavier, but with my head, because then I wouldn't be so disappointing.
The way we see ourselves. That's right. That question, the way that we see ourselves.
Yeah.
So the movie progresses and it takes the turn. Now, he does exactly what every single underused middle-aged man would love to say that they wouldn't do, and he does it. First of all, public service announcement for all those men out there that haven't done this yet: do not laugh at your wife's sex dream. You're not going to get laid ever again. If you laugh at your wife's sex dream, she will not want to touch you. You go, oh, that was the greatest one ever. I don't care if she's about getting a clown suit or make you dress up like a transformer.
Yeah, put you in a diaper with a Batman mask.
Yeah. The answer is yes, honey.
I'll try that, I guess.
Yeah. Don't laugh at it.
Exactly.
Because literally, just that scene just shows where their marriage is right there. I don't want to dwell on that, but it shows that. Mm-hmm. So it progresses, and then he gets a chance to cash in. And they start throwing all these things, and he's all about worried his perception. I would back Sprite. What's your sellout point here? What would you do to cash in on the fame that he was there?
I wouldn't. That's the whole idea.
Never.
Like, I know I wouldn't, because at the end of it all, he did. So I have to think about, first we have to understand power, right? Okay. He doesn't even know where it's coming from. That's problem one. And because he didn't understand the source of said power, which could have been him or could have been external, then you should never try to like cash in on it, because you don't. It could be taken away at any time. So he could have. It's like the idea of building something, but then don't know exactly how that thing works or functions. Right.
Like AI.
Yeah. Like AI. Yeah. Just. If you don't know how it works, one day it could remove itself from the equation, but you've grown accustomed to either this money or the lifestyle or the choices that you made. Yeah. And then it's just taken away just like that.
Yeah, I hope I never sell out, for something or, endorse a product that I don't believe in or something that's hurting people.
Yeah.
Just for the almighty dollar.
I love the Sprite idea, though. I would have done the Sprite idea. Why would I not want to back Sprite? I didn't know she was Sprite.
You got to remember, he wanted to be a published person, and you know, he wanted to be famous that way. He wanted to be famous on his own terms.
Exactly.
You know, so you know, I do applaud him for not selling out to Sprite because it didn't further his agenda. He wanted to write his book to compete with that girl, his ex. Wasn't that whoever
no,
that was?
So that was his writing partner in college.
His writing partner that didn't give him credit for Ant-Man, you know, because Marvel wrote that, right? So it's just one of Marvel beat them both to it anyway, right?
Exactly.
So, you know, here we sit, you know, but he wanted to be able to, you know, say the same thing, like, oh, I'm published also, you know, losing track of, you know, everything else in the process of trying to get there.
So you're saying you guys wouldn't get along to get along?
I don't know. You know, you'd have to show me, you know, wheelbarrows full of money and what it is. But I mean, if Sprite asked me, but I like Sprite. You know, maybe he likes, you know, Pib or something else, Coke. Maybe I have no idea, you know, where he was with that.
Yeah, because I understood like why he wouldn't, and I wouldn't. First of all, in that particular scenario, I wouldn't either, because at the end of it all, he didn't want to violate anyone's dream just to sell them something.
Yeah,
because I'm just saying right now, there are very few spaces that we have left.
At the end of the movie, he took a payout for it.
But that was only after he had lost everything.
Yeah.
So at the point of losing everything, he still sells out.
Yeah. I mean, it could get even worse.
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
But it could get even worse, because if you can't control where you show up in the dream, you know, there she is in the shower, you know, and she turns around and there you are, like, have you drink your Sprite?
Drink Sprite today? Yeah.
Like, what are you doing in here? You know, like I if you can't control any of those
and that's what I'm talking about. He doesn't understand it. Yeah.
Or she's having a sex dream, and there you are in the cuck chair with the Sprite waiting for her. You know, like,
but you're going back to the Hollow Man theory.
You know, I just
Kevin Bacon had all that extra power, and that's why he couldn't leave, because he's a man and he's going to go do sex stuff because he's a man.
I just can't.
I mean, that's the only reason why he couldn't leave. There's no other reason why he couldn't leave other than he's a deranged individual.
That's why, like, I don't think I would agree to something like that in the first place. Yeah. You know, it just seems strange.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the turn? Would you do the eventually he needs money. So, I mean, again, he sells out at the end, like I said, and I cut off your sell-off point a little bit. My apologies. But he does sell out. So he reaches that point. But what I'm saying, if he would have done it up here, he could have cashed in at a level. Some of that's foresight, don't get me wrong.
Right, but it's not a happily ever after. You know, he does get published, but not the way he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
You know, it's not the title that he wants. It's not it's a paperback.
Yeah.
You know, like it's none of those. It's in France. Mm-hmm. You know, and then he has nobody to share. You know what limited success he had,
because he legitimately lost everything.
Yep.
He lost his wife.
What does that end scene?
That's right.
So, with you guys saying that, what does that end scene mean to you then when he shows up? The way that her sex
means
dream
be
would
careful
work
what you wish for. You know, just because he was chasing some sort of fame, you know, he lost the things that mattered.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of that's what bothers me about it. I don't want to lose my soul.
Yeah.
You know, or the love of my life just because, you know, something, you know, because the grass is not always greener on the other side. You know, and even with that, if you're not listening to your partner, because she tried to tell him several times that you're enough, you know, and you know you're successful and you have all these nice things. You know what's the problem?
Beautiful house, beautiful kids,
absolutely,
he had
beautiful
people
wife.
who loved him. He had friends, and all of a sudden he just wanted to give it all up for.
Just for his
That's
ants.
the whole point. Yeah, at the end of the day, for what?
Right.
Yeah, for fame.
Never needed to be famous. He was already famous in his own nice little circle.
Exactly.
You know?
Maybe not understood or loved the way he wanted to, but I don't know. I struggle with that part, because even she uses him on some level. Remember, she gets that extra client at work. She's on that project. She definitely gets her payoff.
Yeah, but remember, she just happened to bring. It wasn't like a thing. It's like, oh, aren't you blah blah like that? Oh, you know what? Yes, I am. Mm-hmm. Yes, I am. And all of a sudden, boom, she became like involved in that. But But the point is, like, she didn't. I don't think she had, like, it wasn't at the forethought of her mind. It just so happens to be like, yeah, I know this guy because he's my husband. And then all of a sudden, that's how she got on the project. Because just as soon as she got it, she also lost the same like level of fame.
Sure.
Yeah, because she got fired from the project.
Right. Instead of being a celebrity, but being locally popular, is kind of fun. When people recognize everybody knows your name. Hey, Norm. Like Cheers style.
Yeah.
But if things can spiral out of control, and if one of the prices of fame is getting canceled by people, it's just it just doesn't feel worth it.
Perfect segue. So what I think here is interesting, and there's two subjects I want to hit on here before we don't overstay our welcome on this movie. The cancel culture and the trauma response. Now, the trauma response, once he makes the turn, he makes an apology for doing nothing wrong. And when he does the apology, it's the worst apology he could possibly do for anyone that actually cares. It was the dumbest apology possible.
Yeah.
So tell me about this cancel culture and relate this to what it would be if you were in that situation.
I understand why he would play victim. I'm sorry, I can't control myself in your dreams. There's just this self-entitled, aspect of like what he's saying. It's so insincere. It's just this nonsensical rant, that's going on, which is befitting of the character, of the circumstance, and things like that. There are a lot of things out there that revolve around cancer culture that very well might be unfair, and I'll explain one. It's just like. When you find a mean tweet from 15 years ago when a celebrity was 9, and they said something incredibly racist, or they said something, or incredibly mean to, a certain group of people or a certain type of disability. It'd be different if that person, now that they're in their 20s, is still spitting that word vomit out, But when you were 9 and you didn't know any better because you were raised by, parents that may have thought that way, you're basically just repeating the things that you were raised around. It's just like the debutante balls, and these 16-year-old girls, because Daddy Warbucks put them in a nice dress, and they went to a nice place and they did, nice things amongst a bunch of racist people. Doesn't mean that that's who they are in their 30s. It's because of what they were raised around, and to hold that against them, I don't think is fair, because when you're supposed to be able to grow, you're supposed to be able to show that you're actually a good person. You're supposed to even learn from your mistakes, along the way. So if he would have simply embraced, like this kind of thing and said, like, hey, I'm going to do better. I don't know how, because it was a dream. It's not like I did any of these things in real life. But if you would have just reminded these people, rationally that, look, this was a dream. I never even did any of these things. Maybe you could get back into their heads if it's all a hive mind. Like if everybody's having the same dream because it's all just like one consciousness in this universe of this movie, well, then you could get that message back in there, and then he'll go back to being boring, going back to just reading the paper while they're walking through fields and things. But I just don't like cancel culture because of the way. If you had to go back 25 years to find something bad about your competition.
Yeah, because the only difference between then and now is the internet. That's it. Yeah. Because how people use the concept, the term that, the internet is forever. Yeah. So, for all those OnlyFans girls, it goes back to, the internet is forever. Yeah. All right. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, you can try to scrub yourself. You can try to scrub your history. Yeah. But just be prepared for the long-term repercussions. Yeah, long-term repercussion.
Every choice has a repercussion.
Yeah, because every choice is a choice. That's
sure.
it. Yeah.
And I would like to think that a lot of us are are really good people. Yeah. So it's not like you have to go back to prove that somebody wasn't a good person or anything like that, because people give you those hints along the way if they're still that person.
Well, see, this is so what you're getting into is. It's not what you're saying is correct. The problem is there are just people who just want to destroy someone's life. Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Like, but you gotta dig. It's a smear campaign.
And that's what it is, because these people, I'm not saying that I don't know if it's true or not, but there seems to be like a focused effort just to see if they can destroy someone's life
for sure
through the internet.
And
because it's like I'll put it this way, right? In a real world, would you go fight someone? That's the whole thing. They would not. All these people who say something, they wouldn't go and try to punch somebody. It's like this is a whole nother world.
But it shows you the power of media,
exactly.
And they're telling people what to be mad at.
Yeah,
and then the mob mentality happens because I'm mad and not mad, and then the next thing you know, it's pitchxforks again.
And that happens in this movie.
It does.
It goes full circle with that. And I'll go this one last topic before we wrap it all up, and I'll start with you, Xavier, because I know you're a tech guy. This dream science thing that they perfect. Now, Ready Player One did it first. Just to go, you did it first.
Absolutely.
What do you? If they had the possibility to do this to us, they'd do it to us right now.
No, they would 100%, because you know why? Because they're doing it right now. They're actually developing this whole like concept of actually adding commercials into your dream. So it's the same thing. So I was gonna get into like this whole dream scenario part from a tech point of view. Like during Iraq War, we used the voice of God on people, right? So for those of you out there that don't know what I'm talking about, we had this. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a low vibrational frequency that allows you to penetrate the skull and directly implant. Like it does not directly implant. You hear the voice without hearing the voice. You can technically call it like telepathy, right?
If you Google it, you'll see the name, but we don't want to say that name.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I don't want to say that I know the name.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So the point is like, so it was called Voice of God. So they had like whole platoons surrendering themselves to just a voice that said that I'm God and I'm telling you to give up right now. All right. So the same thing, how they perfected that, they're also working on how right now you may be wondering how your smartphone will YouTube know. Well, if you switch devices between devices, you still end up with these commercials that seem pretty personal, right? So a lot of like televisions and all these other things, right? They basically put this technology in that your TV screen is the screen. You don't need the camera. Yeah. Right. So the TV is watching you. Your phone is watching you without the camera. You can disable the camera all you want to. All right. I'm not trying to make anybody paranoid, but this is a patent.
Well, I think people have drawn these parallels, because they'll have conversations in their group of friends, and then they open up their social media, and boom,
there it is.
There's
you never talked about going to Antigua before, and all of a sudden
there
now
it is
you're going to
find feed.
This video probably have an Antigua ad.
Yep.
Maybe you want to go to Antigua. Maybe you want to go to Barbados.
Right.
Maybe Turks and Caicos. I'm just using like terms out. Say it out loud and promise it is going to like happen.
We'll sponsor your travel agency. Even though a travel agency just tried to take money from me in Germany. But that's a whole different story.
Sponsor us now. But the point is that so these technologies, they are real. So the point is like, if they can, I promise you, if you haven't already started getting commercials in your dreams right now, it's not a mistake. It's not like a random occurrence, because somewhere in the very near future, if it is at all possible, you will be getting the ad for Snickers bar.
We might not be far off from that now.
Exactly.
Because of how even social media and our phones work right now.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what this is going back to. So that's what I was saying about this dream, especially how it ended that way. I was like, perfect. I will say that's how they did tie that in perfectly, because at the end of the day, if they can find a way to monetize a market, they will do it. If it is possible, a corporation will figure out how to do it.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
And he should have got a huge payout too. The fact he's probably a little small.
Yeah.
Because again, he's the subject matter expert in that space. That space was derived from what he did. Yeah. Therefore, whether he liked it or not, he already has an inherent trademark to it, even though we didn't put a trademark on it. All right. That's Dream Scenario, folks. So let's take it to the love tester. Let's put our hands around the handle. And what are we squeezing, boys?
I'm squeezing atrocious.
Oh, wow.
I do think that this is even worse than Spaceman.
Do I have to find another room under the armpit?
If Spaceman ate a bunch of tacos and then couldn't find a toilet, this is what it would have made on a sidewalk somewhere. I love Nicolas Cage, for many many absurd reasons, but this one wasn't it. Like when he did that, the Five Nights at Freddy's ripoff, and maybe what I loved about that movie was he didn't have a single speaking line throughout the entire movie, but I thought he was great in it. You know, I love his facial expressions, but I don't like seeing him as a pathetic man. He does play it well, like it is believable that the character is pathetic, but he
does that very well. I would say that, he acts,
but Nick Cage is not a pathetic man. I don't see him like that. If you're typecasting people, like Paul Giamatti is a terrific actor.
Tell me a bad role he's ever had.
He's never done anything bad.
But he does have a more pathetic look about him. He's not a heartthrob. He does look like every man's every man. He looks like the grandpa next door or whatnot. He's
powerful though.
He looks like he could have had a hard life. Oh, absolutely. And that's what I love about somebody like Paul Giamatti. He is also he delivers lines very emotionally. So if something like this would have been in that, I feel like it would have been more believable.
It would have,
fair.
I will say that,
but for me, like this just wasn't.
Red
I
A.
think it's
Red A. We'll write down what you got.
I would go with I'm gonna say insipid. Yeah. I'm not calling it one. I was scared insipid. I give it just a little bit higher because like I think you can see Nicolas Cage playing this role, but the fact that it was kind of like looking at regular life with a unblinking eye, so to speak, but with a twist of sci-fi.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I don't know. It's not like I don't hate this movie, but at the same time, like I said, I couldn't ask someone to go watch this movie.
Yeah.
Because they were like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they would find themselves going like, I don't understand like what's happening.
And I mean, I like sci-fi. I like things like this, but for me, this just wasn't. I do like the premise of it, you know, and I do like that, they try to address real world issues, like cancel culture. And then you're going to read reviews where like, well, this movie wasn't about cancel culture at all. Then what the fuck was it about? If then I missed
he literally didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
Exactly. He legitimately did nothing wrong.
No.
Yeah. In that movie.
People are holding things against him that never occurred.
Yeah.
And then basically cancel him, along the way. And then people aren't even held accountable for their actions as they physically assault him for things that never happened.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Ladies Man just sits back and watches it and be like, we're going to fire you now. Yeah, you're done.
Yeah.
Right.
So what about you?
I'm dull. I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's just dull. Like it's a movie I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna forget I watched it. I've watched it 3 times, and I'm not watching it a fourth. If anyone brings it up, I'm gonna be like, you should watch it just to see the message.
How bad?
A lot of these movies, again, we're reviewing movies that have messages. That's the one thing we've been constant with in relevancy to society. And this movie sticks with it, and it gives us another topic to talk about. But it's not a good movie to go with. So let's transition to Best of Show. Am I putting another armpit space, or where am I putting this?
Yeah, put it right next to Spaceman.
Yeah, yeah. Something
I
like
don't care if it's on maybe just on top, maybe just on bottom,
maybe just above Spaceman. I say because I don't know, Spaceman was so disappointing. I don't know, like if anything, it's going to be worse than Spaceman.
Thank you for all the support, guys. We're going to wrap up this episode. We're going to tape another one for you, get some more out. Look for our shorts coming soon. You guys are the best. See ya.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings the program to its unfortunate end. If you liked or hated it so much you can't wait to see what we say next, smash that subscribe and like button. Join the family. Join the ride.